What's happening YouTube? Darren from Tech Monkeys here, back with the latest tech tips video where we answer your questions and questions from around the internet. Again, before we get started, just a little reminder, we want your tech questions. We want to help you fix those things that have been annoying you, or those questions you've always had about the internet, about how the internet works, about how your computer works, or specifically about a problem you have. Leave a comment in the comment section below, or hit us up on Twitter, and we'd be only too glad to create a video answering your tech questions. Today's question comes from Anthony Zohos on Reddit. Anthony says, my computer will shut down by itself randomly. I wait a few minutes, and when I try to turn it on again, it'll either boot up fine or the lights and fan will come on for a moment and then stop. That came on the tech support subreddit. If you're ever stuck and you can't get hold of us, great place to go get some answers. Some excellent tech people over there who will be only too glad to help you troubleshoot your issues. So, what could be causing Anthony's problems? Well, a computer switching off randomly, shutting itself down, can be caused by lots of things. It can be caused by power issues, hardware failure, Windows updates even can cause it. However, if your computer is going from working to just off, with no shutting down, no noise, just the fan stop, everything, that's it, and then will not come on for a period of time, and then will come back on again after you've left it for a few moments, the most likely cause of your issue is going to be heat. Computers don't like heat. If you've got it stuffed up against a wall with clothes all over the top of it, blocking all its air vents, move it. It needs to be somewhere well ventilated. There's a reason it has fans. There's a reason it has all those vents in the side, or if you're on a laptop, around the edges and underneath. Don't ever sit with your laptop on a duvet sat on the bed. You want it on a cool surface where some air can get around it. And computers are clever things, clever and wonderful things, and one of the ways that they like to be extra clever is they have systems built into them to protect their core components. Computers these days, and have done for many years, have systems in there that detect when their core components, their processors, their graphics card, memory, the motherboard, the hard drives, the power supply, if they're getting too hot, and if they are, they will switch the machine instantly off. This is A, to save the components, and B, a safety feature to stop it setting on fire and burning a hole in your house, or burning your house down, even worse. When a processor is calculating something, when you're running something that's quite heavy load in your computer, the more it's doing, the more heat it will generate. The same for your graphics card. If you're getting your best run of headshots and have been for the last 4 hours on CSGO, it's going to be generating a lot of heat. It's going to be really beginning to cook things up. Now, they can get up to pretty substantial heats without it being a problem, but the system knows how hot is too hot, and we'll go into that in a moment. So, what can you do? How can you tell if that is your issue? How can you tell if heat is cooking your computer to death? Well, there's a few things you can do. The first thing you can do is check for any visual or audible signs. Can you hear your fans spinning up? Are they getting louder just before the machine goes off, or are they beginning to really start making a high-pitched whining noises? The fans will get faster the hotter a CPU or GPU gets. That's again to try and keep it cooler. If it can't do that, if there's something wrong, if there's obstructions, it will shut the machine down. So another thing you can do, if it's a PC, take the side off. You might be able to do it with the bottom of a laptop. Laptops can be a little bit more tricky to take apart, but take the side off your computer if it's a desktop computer and have a look at the fans. You're looking for something like this. If I can bring that up. There. You are looking for these things. So what you've got here, number 1 is your power supply, and number 5 there, it shows you the back of the power supply. That's what the fan will look like. It may not look identical to this, but you'll have similar looking things. Number 2 in this case is a graphics card, showing the heatsink and the fan on the graphics card. Number 3 is your processor or CPU fan, and number 4 is just a case fan. It's a fan for blowing air out. That picture number 6 shows you the back of the case fan, from the back of the PC, sorry. So if any of these are not spinning, or are clogged full of dust, dirt, filth and stuff, that's going to be a problem. If it's clogged full of dust, don't be tempted to put a vacuum cleaner in there. Don't get the end of your household vacuum cleaner, stick it in there and start sucking the dust out. You might get away with it, or you might something off the motherboard, or you may wreck something, you may bang it and clatter it and shut your motherboard out. Definitely don't do any of these things without switching your computer off first. I should have said that. Make sure you are shutting your computer off before you're taking the side off. You don't want to get electrocuted or kill your computer completely by taking something out. So, don't be tempted to wash it with water, obviously. Should go without saying. But the best thing you can have is a can of compressed air. They're not much, a couple of quid. Get one, take your PC out into the back garden, blow the dust out of it, blow it out of every crevice. You can do that with a laptop as well, blow it in through the vents, around the edges. Don't hold the can upside down, otherwise it's like liquid nitrogen, it will freeze you to death. But yeah, just blow any dust and bits of crap out of there. Now, let's say you've done that and it's not working, or there didn't seem to be that much dust. What else can you do? Well, the next best thing to check if that heat is the cause of your issue is to download a program to monitor. Oh, I wanted that page open, Control-Shift-T. But we'll lose that later. You want to download a program to monitor your temperatures or to show you what's going on. Now, the best one I like, mainly because it's very feature-rich, gives you loads of great information, but also it's free. It's HW Monitor or Hardware Monitor from CPU ID. This is the URL here. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Just so you don't get it from any spammy sites that are not really it. And go down here and download the setup. Once it's downloaded, click setup, follow it through. There's no real options other than click next, and then run the application. What you'll see is this. If all has gone well, if I can move it over to the right screen. Oh, mind blown, too much information. What is all this stuff? Right, don't panic. Half of this stuff at this moment in time you don't need to be interested in. So anything that's voltages, fans, PWM, voltages, powers, we'll leave utilization, clocks. All we're really interested in is fans, temperatures. We're not bothered about utilization at this point. So we're worried about all the temperatures. That's the bit we want to know. And the fans, are the fans doing what they should? And those sorts of things. So let's minimise it, not scare ourselves with all that information. This program, will tell you loads about your machine and what it's doing. But what we're interested in this instance, as I say, is the heat. So over in the UK, we deal in Celsius, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. You can see the Fahrenheit next to it. Now, this is my PC running under, let's say, low load. It's not doing anything. I'm not encoding any videos. I'm not uploading at the moment. I'm literally just recording this video, so the hard drive will be a bit busy, but the machine itself isn't doing a great lot. So you can see there that my temperatures for my CPU and mainboard, let's start with those ones, they're the ones we're interested in. Your CPUs are normally the main cause of why your machine's shutting down. Is 25 degrees. It's run up to a maximum of 25 degrees. Its minimum's in 25 degrees. It's not really changing a lot. Mainboard, 34 degrees. If we go down here, we can get a little bit more information. It conflicts a little bit because that's not giving us the true figure, it doesn't look like. So let's go straight to my CPU. My CPU's a i5. I've got it overclocked a little bit, so it is going to run a little bit hotter than it should, doing nothing. But again, well within norms. So an i5 has 4 cores, as you can see there, core 0, 2, 4 and 6. They'll all run about the same heat. It's one chip, essentially. They're all going to be around the same heat. You're not going to have one at 90 degrees and one at 10 degrees. It's just not going to happen. You might get one that's a little hotter because that's the one that whatever application is killing your machine is running on primarily. But they're all going to be there. So for us UK people, 40s, 50s, 60s is okay. 70s is getting a little bit hot. 80s, 90s, you're going to start having real issues. Your machine will generally start shutting down around the 80s, high 70s, 80s, somewhere around there. So have a look what you're running at. You can translate that yourself. Other Americans and whoever else uses Fahrenheit. But in Celsius, 70s, 80s, obviously Fahrenheit's a lot higher. You can then scroll down a little bit further and see other things. So what's your GPU or your graphics card running at? As you can see, I don't have the greatest graphics card. Quick, liking and subscribing these videos. I might be able to buy a new one. But anyway, scroll down. Yeah, again, my GPU's not doing anything. I'm not playing any games. And it's running about 40 degrees, somewhere there or thereabouts. You can also see your fan speeds are all turning, depending what fan you got, what motherboard. They'll be around 1,000, 2,000, somewhere around there. If it's running at 200 or 300, you've probably got an issue. Although don't panic because some fans are are designed not to spin at full speed until there's a problem. They need to kick in and get a little bit faster to cool things down again. I actually have a water cooler on this machine, but it's just a solid package. It's nothing I've put any great effort in. But essentially, the bit we're getting to is this will show you temperatures. If, as I say, you're getting in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you need to start being concerned. If you are getting up there and it is beginning to cook itself, two things you can do. Obviously, shut the machine down first. What you want to do is, as I say, get the air, can of air, compressed air, blow out all the air vents you can see, every little bit of dust from around the fans. Don't be tempted to take them off and try and do it that way, because you're just going to probably cause yourself problems unless you know what you're doing inside a computer. If that doesn't work for you, what you're probably going to have to do is replace the thermal paste on the CPU. Now, the thermal paste is a liquid or a gel that sits between the processor itself and the cooler on top that sits on top of the processor. It helps it conduct the heat away from the processor to the cooler and out into the air. It's a little bit tricky, but nothing to be scared of as long as you're very careful and don't try and use hammers or chisels anywhere in the process. Now, in this video I can't physically show you how to do that because I'm just doing a screen recording which won't show you the inside of a machine. But what you would need to do is to take your side off your PC, find your CPU fan, which we said will look something like that. It'll be the one that's flat on the board. And take it off, essentially. Underneath there you will have your processor. If I bring up a i3 on motherboard picture, if I could spell motherboard, let's go into Google Images. Let's just make that image a little bit bigger. So underneath that cooling fan that we saw there in number 3, you will have something similar to this. This little lever down the side will unclip. That metal plate will flip over, and then very gently you'll be able to remove your processor. Just pick it out. It'll only, and when you go to put it back in, by the way, it'll only go one way. Don't force it. Just have a look how the pins line up and gently drop it in a spot. Lock your lever back down, put your thermal paste on. Now, when it comes to applying thermal paste, PCGamer.com actually have a really, really good guide. Really good guide. Head over and check it out. I'll put a link again to PC Gamer in the description below. But that's about how much CPU paste you want to put on. It's not wallpaper paste. It's not the more the merrier. You just want a little smidge of it. You know, a fingernail full, if that. When you put the cooler back on top, it will then compress that out and it will cover the CPU. You don't want to be spreading it around. You don't want to be painting it on. You don't want to be putting huge globs of it on. It only needs a small bit. Also, if, I think in that picture, let's have a look. So, CPU, old thermal paste. Yeah, so you can see here, different processors look slightly differently. But if they've got old thermal paste on, this is what you want to see. You want to use just a wet wipe or some PC cleaning fluid. You can get solvent-based cleaning fluids, or solvent-free cleaning fluids, I should say, and just get that crust off there. I generally just scratch it off my fingernail and then use a dry tissue to wipe it clean. I said baby wipes before. Don't use baby wipes. That's a bad plan. They've got too much liquid in them. Just be very gentle as you do it. You don't want to scratch it and cause any problems. But clean it off, and then to your nice, clean, fresh CPU, put on about that much CPU paste. Reassemble the whole thing, put it back together, switch it back on. Let's see what your CPU temperatures get now. You should hopefully be seeing a lot less, a lot lower. That, as I say, is just a brief overview on how to troubleshoot your PC shutting down issues. As I say, it's more than likely heat. If you're still having problems after that, it isn't working, or yours didn't relate to heat, leave us a question in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe these videos. Show your support. It really does mean a lot to me. And I'll see you on the next video. Happy surfing.